Our caucus people have always been free to speak their mind and have different perspectives. What is interesting, Mr. Speaker...
I feel that we can have a lot stronger representation. I feel that somebody with that background can do great things for St. John Ross.
Is Justin Trudeau's political career about to crash and burn? In a shocking turn of events, 24 of his own MPs are ready to revolt, threatening to topple his government in just 1 week. The golden boy of Canadian politics is now sweating bullets as his iron grip on power slips away. With public approval at a measly 23%, Trudeau's desperate attempts to save face are falling flat. Stay tuned to witness the unraveling of a political dynasty and the potential birth of a new era in Canadian leadership. The Liberal Party is in absolute chaos. A bombshell revelation has rocked Trudeau's inner circle. 24 of his own MPs are on the verge of turning against him. These once loyal supporters now see their leader as a massive liability, threatening to sink the entire party. The tension within the Liberal ranks has reached a boiling point.
People's Day, but every day across this country. We need to value and recognize strong partnerships built on mutual trust are the only way we can create a safe and prosperous future.
These rebellious MPs are considering drastic measures that would have been unthinkable just months ago. They're even talking about voting against their own leader. A move that could spell doom for Trudeau's grip on power. One MP has taken a bold step that left everyone in shock. Wayne Long, representing St. John Rothesay, publicly called for a secret ballot in caucus. This explosive moment exposed the deep cracks in Trudeau's leadership and sent shockwaves through Parliament Hill.
That Pierre Poilievre is just going to define himself and, let's just hold tight, you know, I've said it many times. We can allow somebody like Pierre Poilievre to govern for the next 1, 2, 3 terms.
But wait, it gets even worse for the embattled Prime Minister. New polls show Trudeau's approval rating has plummeted to an all-time low of just 23%. The golden boy of Canadian politics has become political kryptonite, and his own party members are scrambling to distance themselves. So what pushed these loyal MPs to the breaking point? The answer will leave you stunned. These longtime Liberals feel Trudeau is completely out of touch, living in a bubble and ignoring the real issues facing Canadians. They're fed up with his obsession with the carbon tax while families struggle to put food on the table.
Support for commercial flights. There are spaces for Canadians on those planes that have not at this point been.
When you're 20-something and you have your whole life in front of you, but you cannot picture yourself ever owning a home?
One insider revealed the shocking truth. Trudeau doesn't listen to anyone anymore. He surrounded himself with yes men and shut out anyone who dares to question his policies. This arrogance has created a powder keg within the party, ready to explode at any moment. While Trudeau battles internal chaos, an unexpected player has entered the game with a move so audacious, it's left seasoned politicians stunned. The Bloc Québécois, once considered a minor player, now holds the key to Trudeau's political survival. But at what cost? Yves-François Blanchet, the fiery leader of the Bloc, has dropped a political bombshell that sent shockwaves through Ottawa. His demands? A whopping 10% hike in old age security for seniors aged 65 to 74 and the passage of a supply management bill. But that's not all. Blanchet's ultimatum comes with a threat that's left even the most hardened politicians gasping for air. In a move that's pure political dynamite, Blanchet declared he's ready to burn the whole thing down if Trudeau doesn't cave to his demands.
We have asked under the terms that we have described. We don't have a choice but to take it, but we are not negotiate.
That they would tolerate it. But Quebec does not need to be told what to do or what not to do about its own values, nor its language.
This isn't just tough talk. It's a declaration of war on Trudeau's fragile government. And how did Canada's Prime Minister respond to this earth-shattering ultimatum? With complete and utter silence. That's right, folks. The man known for his silver tongue has suddenly lost his voice. But don't be fooled by Trudeau's silence. Behind the scenes, his team is in full panic mode. Why? because Blanchet's timing couldn't be more perfect. With Trudeau's own party in open revolt and his approval ratings in the gutter, the Bloc's ultimatum is like a dagger aimed straight at the heart of his leadership.
I might be tempted to help them. If they are trying to create an oil state in Western Canada, they cannot expect any help from.
Received what we asked. If producer under supply management regime were not to get what we asked.
The stakes couldn't be higher. Political insiders are whispering that Blanchet is ready to shift into government toppling mode at a moment's notice. This isn't just about policy changes anymore. It's a high-stakes game of political chicken that could bring down Trudeau's entire government. And here's the kicker. Blanchet's demands aren't just empty threats. The proposed 10% increase in old age security could cost the government a staggering $3 billion a year. That's money Trudeau simply doesn't have, especially with his party already questioning his every move. In one brilliant stroke, the Bloc has exposed just how fragile Trudeau's hold on power really is. The once unshakable Prime Minister now finds himself trapped between a rock and a hard place. If he gives in to Blanchet's demands, he'll be seen as weak and desperate. But if he stands his ground, he risks losing everything. As Trudeau grapples with the Bloc's ultimatum, a deafening silence from an unexpected corner threatens to shatter his fragile coalition. Jagmeet Singh, once a reliable ally, has suddenly gone radio silent. Is this the calm before the storm, or has Trudeau's luck finally run out? The political chess match that's unfolding could rewrite the rules of Canadian politics. Trudeau is in full panic mode, desperately trying to keep the NDP in his corner.
Present like there's a simple solution to how we stop violence, but there are some things we know work. We need to tackle violence.
Says that we're going to force these workers back to work, for example, and makes that a confidence vote. I've said that I would vote against that. So in the case of something that undermines workers.
He's throwing everything at the wall, hoping something will stick. But Singh isn't biting. The NDP leader's silence is speaking volumes, and it's leaving Trudeau sweating bullets. Every unanswered phone call, every ignored text, it's all adding up to a nightmare scenario for the embattled Prime Minister. Trudeau's strategy is falling apart faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. He's offering perks for lower-income seniors and making promises left and right, but it's all coming across as weak and ineffective. It's like watching a magician pull rabbits out of a hat, only to find the audience has lost interest in his tired old tricks. But here's where it gets really interesting. The NDP has its own shopping list of demands, and it's a doozy. They're not messing around with small potatoes here.
Step in the right direction. The federal government will deliver more than $16 million a year. We're all seeing remarkable results. Since 2015, Canada's trade with ASEAN has nearly doubled.
We're talking about cracking down on grocery price fixing and ensuring clean water for Indigenous communities. These aren't just policy tweaks. They're game changers that could reshape the Canadian political landscape. So what will it take for Singh to break his silence? That's the million-dollar question that's keeping Trudeau up at night. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Every day that passes without a word from Singh is another nail in Trudeau's political coffin. And here's the kicker. Every concession Trudeau makes to try and win back the NDP's support is just digging him deeper into a hole. It's a lose-lose situation. Give in to Singh's demands, and he looks weak and desperate. Stand firm, and he risks losing his last lifeline of support. Trudeau is caught between a rock and a hard place, and the walls are closing in fast. The clock is ticking for Trudeau's government, and the final showdown is approaching. Will Singh's silent treatment be the straw that breaks the camel's back? Or will Trudeau pull off a miracle and save his sinking ship? One thing's for sure, the next few days will be a roller coaster ride that will leave Canadians on the edge of their seats. Buckle up, folks. We're in for one wild political storm.
I've also seen the devastating images from the ground in the U.S. after Hurricane Milton made landfall yesterday. Learning that we're stronger not in spite of our differences, but because of them. And it's a story that's still being written.
Remember when we said Trudeau was caught between a rock and a hard place? Well, now he's staring down the barrel of a political gun. A shocking development is set to rock Canadian politics to its core and it could spell the end of Trudeau's reign in just 7 days. Political insiders are buzzing with the news that a non-confidence vote could happen as soon as next week. This isn't just another bump in the road for Trudeau, it's a potential political earthquake that could shatter his government. All the opposition forces are joining hands, forming a united front against the beleaguered Prime Minister. It's like watching vultures circling their prey, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Analysts are calling this the last straw for Trudeau's government. The tension in Ottawa is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Everyone's on edge, wondering if this is the moment when Trudeau's house of cards finally comes crashing down. And let me tell you, if it does, it won't be pretty.
Darkest corners of the internet to the hateful rhetoric chanted in our streets is unacceptable. We know we need to continue to offer opportunities for people to leave to safety, and we will continue to do that work.
Picture this. Trudeau's government collapses in a spectacular fashion. MPs scrambling to clear out their offices, frantic phone calls to constituents, and a nation left in shock. It's not just a change in leadership, it's a seismic shift that could reshape Canadian politics for years to come. This isn't your average political drama, it's a full-blown crisis that has everyone from Bay Street to Main Street holding their breath. But here's where it gets really interesting. If Trudeau's government falls, we're looking at an early election. And let me tell you, the vultures are already circling. Names like Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney are being whispered in the corridors of power. Could one of them step up to save the Liberal Party from total collapse? Or will this be the moment the Conservatives have been waiting for? Trudeau isn't going down without a fight, though. He's pulling out all the stops in a desperate bid to save his political skin. Emergency meetings, last-minute policy shifts, frantic calls to wavering MPs. It's a political Hail Mary that would make even the most seasoned strategists sweat.